Awesome. Yeah. Welcome, everybody. I can see quite a number of you are on the call already, and we are on the hour. So, welcome. Please introduce yourself wherever you're joining us from. Let us know where you're joining us from. And yes, I'm excited about today's section. As you know, today is going to be with the industry players, it's going to be with innovators who are actually doing something great with technology in the sector. And the aim of this section is to inspire, is to instruct, and to sort of give you guidance. Um, on the path to creating value and solutions leveraging on technological innovations, various forms. But you're going to hear from the players today. You're going to hear from what they do. Perhaps you can be able to, you can kindle your candle, from their own, light, burning light. So thank you so much for joining in once again. So I will quickly just go through uh, the academy, just to remind us why we do what we do. And as you may know, we are Precision Feed Academy, and our mission is to raise the next generation of tech inclined and digitally savvy farmers, agricultural professionals, and we want to create a world where every young person, regardless of your background, has the opportunity to become digital savvy farmer or agricultural professional. You can also drive sustainable and equitable growth in your communities, leveraging on the power of technology. And yeah, we train, we build capacities of professional, and platforms like this gives us that opportunity to do this, to share knowledge. Now, our methodology is education and knowledge sharing. So we bring to you opportunity to be educated, opportunity to gain from the knowledge of professionals across the world. You can be able to be inspired and get clarity and direction. And also you can we also engage in training and skills development, with hands-on training, various forms of training that empowers you. And we also leverage on coaching and mentorship. So we believe that with these three cardinal methodology, we can be able to achieve our mission, which is to raise the next generation of tech inclined and digitally savvy farmers or agricultural professionals who can be able to use the power of technology to transform their lives, their communities, and their nation across. And we're focused on these technological skills and enterprise skills too, from drone technology to GIS, data science and agriculture, to robotics and AI, to artificial intelligence and machine learning. We are this and also on enterprise or personal development learnings too, because to bring technology to market, really, it's really important, and that is where rubber meets the road. Yeah, so we are focused on this. Why we do what we do and what's our motivation? We believe that there is a skill gap to be closed. Young professionals like you need to build skills and both technical and enterprise skills for the future of work, and to also remain relevant in the future of work and technology in agriculture. Observing the trend is not enough. That's just a fact. You need to become an enabler, a player in this revolution. And technology is key to unlock Africa's agricultural profession. Agri- is to unlock agricultural potential. And this is why you need to join us. Yeah, we're building a future we want to see in agriculture, particularly in African agriculture. So you have access to coaching and mentorship, just like we are going to be doing today. Our aim, like we said, we are building a community of young, tech inclined, and digitally savvy farmers and professionals. So thank you so much for joining this call. I have mentioned all of this quite. We thank our partners for this opportunity to be doing this. So next week, we will be starting with now for the on-site training, and 2 weeks later, we would be resuming to Futmina, and then later to River State University. So please do well to register. I believe an email has been sent to you, or perhaps you've gotten this information on WhatsApp group for you to complete your registration for the on-site after these virtual classes. So, and we thank our global faculty for thus far. And today, we are honored to be having these players with us. But you would give me just 1 minute. Yes, so that I can be able to bring on our speakers. Thank you very much. Just take put as we get this on. All right, thank you so much for the wait, and I'm super excited that we have our speakers ready to share with us. So today we have, uh, industry leaders. We have Vancelos, who is the managing director of Afrostain Farm Tech, and is joining us all the way from Zimbabwe. A very good friend and professional colleague who I respect a lot. Thank you so much, Vancelos, for joining us. So I'll be bringing you up in the next 30 seconds. So get ready. It's going to be a fireside chat, like we mentioned, where we're going to be asking you questions. You know, yeah. And I also have the pleasure of welcoming Dr. Stephen Obey. Dr. Stephen Obey is the CEO of EVET. Uh, so, Dr. Stephen, please, you're welcome. I will be bringing you up on stage, but I would quickly like to read their bios. So, as they get set to show forth, I hope that Chidima Lizzie, that's the team lead of Farmcast, will be joining us very soon. So, Vancelos is a visionary entrepreneur and transformative business leader renowned for revolutionizing agriculture across Africa through precision farming technologies. He is the founder of Afrostain Farmtech, a precision farming consulting firm, Afrostain College, a digital skill training institute, and at Etasoft, a pioneering earth exploration and data analytics company. From turbulence beginning to becoming a celebrated agritech figure, Vancelos has distinguished himself through innovation, bold entrepreneurship, and fearless risk-taking. His work continues to reshape agricultural landscape, empowers agribusinesses, and position Africa agriculture as at the frontier of global technological advancement. You are very welcome, Vancelas. Right. So I'm going
Thank
to
you very much. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
I'm so much honored to be part of this show today.
Great, 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 great. So we quickly read Dr. Stephen Ubey's profile so that you can get to know him, although they are still going to introduce themselves, they introduce to us what they are doing with technology and how it is solving problems. So Dr. Stephen Obey is an innovator, product manager, and the CEO of EVET International, a company transforming livestock healthcare in Africa. He, he holds a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from the University of Ibadan. They call it the school. Passionate about bridging critical gaps in animal healthcare. Dr. Stephen highlights that in Nigeria, fewer than five veterinary doctors serves every 100,000 livestock farmers with limited diagnostic laboratory to support effective treatment. This contributes to the loss of nearly 40% of livestock to preventable disease annually, weakening the food system. Through EVET International, Dr. Stephen is building an end-to-end tech-enabled solution that delivers quality veterinary care directly to farmers' doorstep, driving resilience and sustainability in Africa agriculture. So I will be welcoming. Join me to welcome Dr. Stephen. Dr. Stephen, it's really great to have you on this call.
Yeah, thank you very much. Super excited to be here. Looking forward to an exciting conversation.
Great, 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 great. So, guys, yeah, I want to ask the first question, which I already mentioned. I want you to introduce yourself beyond your profile and sort of tell us what you are doing with technology. The amazing, you are here because we are doing something amazing with technology. So, to tell us about what you are doing with technology, yeah, I will start with Vancelos. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So, as you have mentioned, just for the benefit of others, uh, we are working with three companies right now. The first one, which is Afrostain Farmtech, which is mostly commonly known. This company was established 2019. And at Afrostain, we are basically bringing new solutions to the farming community in as far as there are other things like the use of drones to do crop health assessment, area mapping, and detailed crop health analytics. We've also added another key feature, which is an issue of detecting underground water potential zones using drones. You notice that ordinarily people tend to use traditional methods like PQWT, using copper wires, and other traditional methods of finding water, which is basically a sampling method. But we're using drones, you cover the entire land, so you are basically eliminating the need for sampling. you are covering every part of the land, which then helps farmers who are so sensitive in terms of crop water requirement, instead of farmers who struggle to scale up their productivity because of limited water resources. So those are some of the things that we are using. And in addition to that, we are also using satellite data analytics, and mostly using Earth observation data from satellites to do crop monitoring, yield estimations, and doing grazing potential and assessments. Like, for example, when you are into livestock, one key thing that is mostly important is for you to know the grazing potential of your fields, of your paddocks, how many cattle can fit within a single hectare, and you need to get that information before the season starts, or in the middle of the season, or even during a week. You should be able to know how many cattle can I put in this paddock, and if the grazing is depleting, you should be able to get that information upfront. So those are some of the things that we are using. We've created our own platform, which is proprietary. It's an Earth observation data analytics platform, which allows every farmer, no matter where you are, your operations by monitoring what's happening in the field, by planning your farm operations, by also we've got other modules within the platform which allows you to be able to track and monitor what's the kind of food that you are buying in the supermarkets, and being able to trace from farm to fork. Nowadays, consumers are much more concerned with the health of what they are eating, and doctors are recommending people to say, you know what, if you want to lose weight, if you want to maintain a good shape, you need to watch your food. So it's therefore very important in a world where technology is actually taking over from genetically modified organisms to organic foods to other hybridization and so forth. People need to know what exactly is it that they are eating. So we are championing, we are pioneering such kind of innovation to be able to allow farmers to track to be able to allow consumers to know the farmer who is doing very well. So the system is very simple. You simply scan a QR code of any food product that you would want to buy. And this also allows our local farmers to be able to export to other regulatory sensitive countries, like even regions like the European Union. So this also allows the farmer who are doing very well to sell and fetch higher. So those are some of the parts of the things that we are providing locally. This is what we are doing with Afrostain and Ethersoft. And of course, in terms of empowering farmers, we're also, I'm glad that you've outlined a very good framework, like skills transfer and the training. We also have got a CAS, that is CAA, Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe, licensed drone training school and licensing. So we also do training. Recently, we trained, in terms of the training, we are not therefore limited to the farmers, but we also train the security personnel. Recently, we trained the members of the police force of Zimbabwe, which is almost like a game changer on our side. And then, in terms of training farmers, in terms of improving their yields agronomically, good agricultural practices, and training in other skills like just big data analytics and how to improve what they're doing in their farms. So those are some of the things that we are doing at the moment to empower the farmers that we are working with. And fortunately, I'm glad that some of the things that we are doing are not only for Zimbabwe, we are also working within other regions in the African continent. We've covered about, I think, 8 countries so far, with 1 or 2 projects in all those countries. So it's actually an exciting journey, and I'm glad that farmers are taking these things seriously, which is an exciting thing.
All right. Thank you so much, Vancelos. Dr. Stephen, you want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing with technology?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm super excited to be here, actually. So my name is Dr. Stephen Obe. I'm the founder and CEO of HEVET Africa. So at HEVET, we operate an hybrid model, actually. first, I would first of all like to talk about the technology products that we've been working with smallholder livestock farmers across Nigeria for the past 4 years. So we have a digital platform that kind of provide veterinary extension services for livestock farmers across Nigeria. So with our digital platform, livestock farmer, either you raise poultry, you raise fish, you raise cattle, you raise even pig, you can easily keep your daily farm records on our platform. More like recording your daily farm activities, because we found out that over 95% of livestock farmers in Nigeria still don't have digital farm record keeping. Many of them still use guesswork. Many of them still use paper to record their daily farm activities. And then when insurance or maybe financial companies wants to finance these farmers and they ask them, hey, Mr. A or Mr. B, can you just provide us your farm records, maybe farm records of the activities for the past couple of months? We discovered that these farmers are unable to provide these farm records to financiers. And this is actually affecting their inability to actually access finance from financiers like commercial banks and even insurance from them. So our digital farm record keeping fills this gap by making sure that livestock farmers, wherever you may be, smallholder, commercial, and the likes, can easily be able to keep their daily farm records. Something really interesting is that our digital platform can also be used with when you don't even have strong internet connection. So we have it integrated into WhatsApp for you. So it's actually integrated into WhatsApp that you can even keep your farm record on WhatsApp. Something interesting about our digital platform is it powered by AI. So you don't necessarily have to wait for hours to access veterinary extension services. Just by chatting with our AI, you can be able to access some basic information about your farm, what you're going to do. Maybe your animal is sick, what you want to use on your animals to prevent disease outbreak. Our WhatsApp chatbot provides you this kind of advisory support on the go that you can just chat with our AI vet and access veterinary extension services on the go. We quite also understand that some of these farmers lives in rural areas who do not have access to internet connection. So we also leverage on IVR system, an AI-powered voice agent, which is available to farmers even in their local language to put a call through to a
I think
advice support on the go, wherever you may be, even in your local languages. So sound really exciting, right? So these are some of the things we are bringing on board to farmers, wherever your location, wherever your state, accessing veterinary advisory support shouldn't be a barrier. So either you access, you have smartphone, you have internet connectivity, you don't have internet connectivity, you can speak English language very well, you cannot speak English language very well. We bring veterinary extension services right to you at your doorstep. Right. So presently, our platform powered over 50,000 livestock farmers across Nigeria. And for us, it's still day one. We still want to do more. We still want to impact more farmers because we understand that there's a high deficit of animal proteins in Nigeria, even in Africa generally. Right. So you can just see that we are still importing a lot of meat. We are still importing a lot of egg. We are still importing a lot of things, milk. It's supposed not to be. We need to step up our local production capacity, which is livestock. And this is where we are. We are giving these farmers, equipping them with the necessary tool, with the necessary advisory support, input. You can even access input via our platform. You want to buy vaccine, you want to buy feed, you want to buy drugs. You can access this through our platform. So we are equipping these smallholder livestock farmers with access to quality input, advisory support to make sure that we can boost local livestock production And we believe we can successfully boost local livestock production. We're actually going to meet our local livestock demand, making sure that quality and affordable animal proteins are available for average Nigerians, and we don't necessarily have to be spending billions of naira in importing livestock products from abroad. So for us, it's still day one, and we are looking
Yeah.
to helping as many smallholder farmers out of poverty. Thank you.
So, Dr. Steven, I want to quickly follow up on that question. Maybe you touched a bit about it, but I want you to sort of talk about it particularly. What inspired and motivated you in creating these agritech ideas and platform? I know your WhatsApp platform is AI enabled, as yeah, but and the core of your business or the agritech, how you are using technology to solve this problem. So kind of tell us, how it started and what inspired this agtech solution. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, what inspired me was more of a personal experience. I've been actually consulting for farmers for over 10 years now, working among livestock farmers across Nigeria. So 4 years ago, I stumbled on a poultry farmer here in Lagos who actually lost almost 4,000 of our poultry birds to disease outbreak overnight, right? But this thing doesn't start overnight. They actually kind of a build up of unattended cases. And when I got to these farmers, I got called as a veterinary doctor. Hey, my chickens are dying. And by the time I got to the farm, I discovered that the woman is already lost practically all. There was nothing I could do. And then I asked her, hey, woman, why did you get to this level? What happened? He said she could not access veterinary care on time. Most farmers, she called one other farmer friend that is farming poultry, and the farmer friend told her that this is actually what you should use, a drug you should use on your poultry farm, and blah, 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 blah. And then the animal started dying. I said, wow, this is really a serious problem. So 4 years ago, I decided we want to solve this problem. And that is why we started creating digital platform that can democratize and increase access to veterinary care for these livestock farmers. So it started like just building a digital platform, connecting farmers to veterinary doctors. But then while working with these farmers for the past 4 years, we discovered that there are a lot of problems that needed to also be solved among them, which is farm record keeping, and how can we even leverage on low-tech solutions? We understand that these farmers don't even have smartphones. So how do we leverage on low-tech solutions to low-tech technology, right, to bring our solutions to them? And that is what came about WhatsApp chatbot, and of course our high VR system, which is a phone call that they could just call, and then they access veterinary advice support on the go. So for me, it's more of a passion. It's more of a need. I saw a woman who was devastated, who lost over 4,000 of our poultry bed. 4,000 capacity nowadays is worth millions of naira.
Yes.
That is thousands of dollars. So it was more of the pain point. I saw a woman and one critical thing was that she actually took a loan to set up the poultry farm. You could see, and then if you actually took a LAPO loan, not a LEPO loan, you know how crazy that could be in a place like Nigeria. So that was the experience and the turning point for us. And we said, hey, let's build something that can solve this problem among livestock farmers.
Thank you so much. That's so, guys. I hope you're getting it. He mentioned that it's a place of passion and need. So when these two comes together, and see what it's bettered. So yeah, this is from Dr. Stephen's perspective. I want to also hear from Vancelos. From your bio, you already made us to know, like, yeah, you have a story to tell us. So what inspired the solution? How uh what inspired you, or how did you get started? Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the story of Dr. Steven is so exciting. It's actually very inspiring. Thank you so much for that. When it comes to my case now, the story is slightly a bit different. Personally, I grew up in a very poor background. So I started thinking about entrepreneurship at an early stage. Actually, I started my first business when I was in grade 7. That's about 13 years. I think 11 to 13 years, yeah. So I started doing a business for the manufacturing of hangers, those that are used for tying clothes in the shops and so forth. And then I used that cash to actually fund myself to go to the O level to secondary school. And then whilst in secondary school, I started heading other people's cattle, but I was then finding other guys, my age mates, whom I was going with to head cattle in the bush. So I would pay them a bit of cash and they would head the other 3 or 5 groups of other people. And that was a bit, so I would get money to keep other people's cattle, and then I'll find people like subcontracting nowadays to give another person to do the same job. And then when I was now in form 4, I used the same. I got another key enterprise which was doing. I passed form 4 actually, and my father gave me a single bed. Like, thank you so much. You have done very well in school, and I used that single bed to keep my first flock of chickens. So I had about 300, and of course, because of lack of knowledge, I lost the entire flock, which was about 280 beds by that time. And later on, so this is just the pre-start of entrepreneurship. Then the actual entrepreneurship started when I went to College of Agriculture. On my attachment, I was attached to one of the biggest farms in the SADC. It's actually here in Zimbabwe. But this farm, they were using jets to spray their tobacco, to spray their crops. Before drones, people were using those mini aeroplanes and so forth.
Yeah.
So it was so exciting. And to be honest, I never loved farming. But by that time, I started seeing, you know what? Farming is actually exciting, because when you look at the historical background of agriculture, to say, someone is into agriculture, it's not something that was very exciting. And when I then, even my primary school teachers, in my secondary school teachers, when they heard that I'm now going to an agricultural college, they said, "My way, do you want to, what got into you? Do you want to die poor? What's happening?" And then by that time, when I then finished college, I had to tell them that, you know what, guys, we were lost. Agriculture is actually the big deal. But because I was someone who is trying to look where exactly is the money in farming, like I said, I grew up in a poor background, so I was trying to look at, am I not wasting my time in the agricultural space? Where exactly is the cash that we can? So I was trying to then see how exactly can I solve a real problem that will make sure that when I solve this, it's going to be a permanent thing. It's not something that where I'm going to do daily grind. I was trying to look at a service or a product that I can sell continuously, even if I'm dying, if on my deathbed, people continue using the same service, or even if I'm too old or retired, the business will not survive because I'm not there. So I started looking at some of those key things. So it has been a journey looking at what kind of operations can I do. So 2020, I started providing consulting services. Pre that 2019, I was giving services for free because I was just trying to make farmers to be able to get something that they can reference, that Wencelas did this for us. So I had a lot of farmers that I assisted, and then they advised, why don't you start a company? You could actually make a living from this. And that's when I had registered AfroStain. That was of my first company. And I started offering those kind of services. And in COVID-19, that's when we started a training school. But the way we started the training school was a bit funny, because the idea was we want to get cash for WhatsApp bundles. So how are we going to do that? We thought of training just 10 farmers virtually using WhatsApp. And we said, you know what? Each farmer should just pay $4. And guess what? Because of my digital presence, I had done a course with Google. We ended up with 250 farmers joining the WhatsApp group and each of them paying $4. And we said, you know what? If we can get this, and the reason why we ended up at 250 is because the group was only going to be full at 257. So we said, you know what, we need to repeat this again, because in COVID-19, people had nothing to do. So they said, you know what, we should learn this. And we were also very good in terms of teaching practical things, giving people actual information. And they were referring each other, go join this class. And the cash was just little, $5 to join. And we trained a lot of people, and then realized, you know what, we could actually establish a virtual training school. And we could upload our courses. People can learn virtually, just pay their cash, and we can upload courses. People can learn on their time. So one goal was almost achieved. But unfortunately, Zimbabwe is under the US sanctions. So November of that same year, we were hosting on Genomio. They said, you know what, your countries, we unfortunately leaving Zimbabwe, so you won't be able to. So we stopped that. That was the first mistake. The second venture, which is the drone data analytics, we actually started it in 2022. So the idea was that it was out of just excitement, just by virtue of saying drones, in the African market, it's still an exciting thing. So it was basically wanting to see what can we do with drones. And later on, that's when we then realized that you could actually do so much now when we had the drones. And some of the things were actually out of the problems that farmers were facing. For example, when we talk about the underground water potential zone mapping, there's a farmer who came from, it's a diasporan. He came back to Zimbabwe. He bought a land which is 100 hectares. He drilled 4 dry holes, one bore which was about 200 meters, and he was saying, I used more than 10,000 USD. That's a lot of money. And he asked us, you know what, how best can you assist me? You guys, you are a consulting company. So, you know what, we can help with land use planning. How do you do this process? As I was explaining, he said, but why don't you tell farmers where exactly is the highest water potential on this entire land? This can actually help me to not waste a lot of money. And I promise, you know what, we can come up with a solution on that. And I went on to do, when you are in entrepreneurship, you probably understand things like phantom interviews. You want to hire the best minds, but you don't have the money to pay them. So we used that tactic to hire. I think we did an interview promising a lot of money to the candidates. And great minds showed up to the interview. I hired some top guys and so forth. And they said, we asked them a simple question. We want to create a solution that can help farmers to know where is the highest water potential on their land without physically being there, using remote sensing only. And a lot of people were saying, you know what, this is not possible, it can't be done. And some were saying, you know what, we're going to use this, we're going to use historical data, we use time series analysis, we use 9 parameters, we use soil type to detect the underlying rock type, the drainage, and all those key things. And then we were taking notes, of course, you know what, this can be happening. And later on, because we didn't have money to hire those people, we then had to get graduate trainees and some graduate students, and we then gave them, let's create something on the basis of these parameters. And fortunately, it worked. And guess what? Right now, it's now the technology which is almost underlining, especially in Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Zambia, because we also operate in those areas so bigly. So most of the things that we do, they were coming from a perspective of either necessity or because there was a need to do that. And recently, when we the platform that was talking about, the Earth exploration, Earth observation, and data analytics, it was mostly because we were hired to do a service of drone data analytics. So we've been using drones, and we wanted to map 18,000 hectares for the insurance companies. And we realized that the information that they actually want, we could actually get it from satellite data analytics. But unfortunately, the companies that are providing those services, they are mostly from Europe, America, Russia, and Ukraine, and some from Serbia, and so on. But we noticed that we could actually create our own system that can help us to do this, but without ditching out drone data analytics. Because drones, imagine paying another platform, let's say 10,000 simply to do data processing and so forth. And you can't therefore scale and within research. Now in the age of AI, there are now agentic AI tools, there's now AI agents. You can automate all those key things. You can do no code platforms. So we then started working on that and we realized that, you know what, it's actually working. And guess what? We are now using that platform to assist the insurers that wanted drone data in the first place to retrieve data from Sentinel, Planet, Landsat, and all those things. And we are also then using that information on that basis. So to start, it wasn't necessarily out of passion, but we did these things because of out of necessity. We wanted to achieve certain things. We wanted to drive something that we can be remembered to say, you know what, this platform that we are using, it was created by this person, and this person, even if we don't make it to the list of the richest people, but at least we have done something for the community, and we can be remembered as people who have made changes. And in the process, of course, we want to go hungry to our home
Yeah.
states. So those are just the summary of how we got started and where we are at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Vancelos. Yeah. So I want to ask, because we have some questions already, so which I'm going to be tending to very soon. But let me just quickly ask this question to Dr. Stephen. If you look, okay, let me ask this: what skill should young professionals focus on if they want to start or perhaps join a tech-driven agricultural startups like yours? What are the skills that you would tell, Dr. Steven?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Femi. For me, I would say it has to be a combination of both soft and hard skills.
Okay.
You need to be able to balance the two together. A lot of young graduates presently, particularly the Gen Z type, in terms of soft skills, they are not really there. And we need to start reevaluating our skill acquisition strategy, reevaluating how these young people are actually even trained to better fit them into the startup world, right? Of course, there is the traditional business world. So there is some things that you need to get employment into a traditional business world. When I mean traditional business world, I mean people that run SMEs, maybe banking, you want to work in some government organizations, we know 1 week, some other establishments that are not really startups. But in the startup world, you need to have this blend of both hard and soft skills together. Right. So for your hard skills, I would say things that has to do with your area of expertise. What are the things that you learned from school? What are the things that you could leverage on after you graduated from school? Some digital skills coming in this area. Like, what are the digital elements in your skills? Not that you just went to school, you graduated as a microbiologist or as a biochemist or maybe as an agri extension officer, as an animal scientist. These are wonderful courses. I'm not trying to bring them down. But even you graduate as a veterinary doctor, as a medical doctor, whatsoever skills that you actually gather from your school, those are wonderful ones. But there's an extra layer of digital skills that you should also have. For example, simple content writing is amazing to actually tell your employees, the employers that, hey, in addition to being a biochemist, in addition to being an animal scientist, I'm also good in content writing. Simple social media management skills, these are wonderful. You don't necessarily have to be able to write codes for you to join an agri-tech startup. Believe me. Simple design. You're a graphic designer. You are UI UX designer. Those are skills that are not really code related, that you don't necessarily have to write code to join an agri-tech startup, right? Even product management skills. These are skills that are also needed to join an agri-tech skills. Other skills that are not necessarily code-based, like communication skills. How are you able to? So those are some of the things that you also need, like digital marketing skills, your marketing skills. So you need those extra layer, right, of skills to be able to join an agri-tech startups at the end of the day. First, you don't necessarily have to gather these skills from your school days. You could put in for an internship role, right? It could be a paid or non-paid internship. But I know the generation that we have now don't want to do anything that is not paid internship. But you'll be doing yourself more harm than good, right? The economy is really, really hard. Even a lot of startups are finding it really, really tough running their operations. So you could just do a no paid kind of internship role to gather those skills and find a startup, an agritech startup that can actually fit in a particular place where you get to learn those skills hands on and then grow and become a better person. So that is the area of hard skills. Then for the soft skills, which I think many of us don't actually look at to, is has to do with your behavior. Like how passionate are you? How rugged are you? How tenacious are you? The agritech startup is a crazy word. Believe me, it's a crazy word. And if you actually want to function optimally in the agritech startup, you need that emotional intelligence. You need to be on top of your game. You need to be able to take in a lot of trash from your users, particularly farmers. Farmers are one of the most, one of the hardest people to serve on planet Earth, right? So you need to be very tenacious. Your emotional intelligence has to be top notch if you're actually going to serve farmers, break into that market, right? You building your platform. By the time you get there, they just said, "Hey, thank you, we don't need it." So you need to be able to be very innovative. Know how you are actually going to work yourself around problem solving. So your problem solving skill also comes in here. These are part of the soft skills that you need to have as an entrepreneur, as an aspiring entrepreneur, or you might not even be an entrepreneur, or maybe someone that you even want to work as an entrepreneur. When I mean by entrepreneur, I mean you just want to work in an agritech startup, not necessarily funding an agritech company yourself, right? Your problem solving skills, how great are they? How are you be able to pick from people? Then how are you be able to listen? You have to be a very great listener for you to actually scale agri-tech solutions in the part of the world. You don't just come sit one corner of your office and then come up with a solutions and dump it on the farmers. The farmers will also come up with your own trash and dump it back at you. You understand? So you need to be an active listener. By the time you are going to these farmers, listen to what they have to say. Hey, what is it that you are even facing? Your problem solving skill has to be very top notch. You have to be an active listener. Listen to what they have to say. And you have to be a patient thinker. Functioning agritech startup is not is a marathon. Let me put it that way. It's not just an 100-meter race. It's something that you have to be patient. It's not something that you just build and then works overnight. You have to be patient. It's just like a farmer that plants a seed. It doesn't grow that same day, right? Sometimes it will take like a week. It might take like a month. It might take years based on the type of crop you plant. The same thing with agri-tech startups or agri-tech companies. Either you are the entrepreneur pushing the vision or you are an entrepreneur working in these agri-tech startups. You have to be a patient thinker. Water it, kind of take away the weeds that are surrounding it, nurture it, then it will eventually grow at the end of the day, and then it's going to scale among this farmer. But you have to hone both your hard skills and your soft skills together. Be a very good innovator, be a very good problem solver, be a very good thinker. Think before your farmers even think one. think 2, 3 about the problem they are solving, and then how you are able to provide solutions to those problems. And most importantly, make money, because at the end of the day, you are not running a charity, right? You don't want to turn your agritech venture into charity. You want to make money, right? So at the end of the day, you also need to innovate about profit. How am I going to generate more revenue at the end of the day? We know these farmers have a very low purchasing power, right? They have a very low purchasing power. They have a lot of things they are struggling with on their own before you bring your solution. You understand my point? So you need to highlight their pain points. What are their top 5 pain points, right? And what are the things that they are actually going to pay for, right? Before you actually come up with a solution, because at the end of the day, your solutions might end up being a charity project. You don't want your solutions to be a charity, and then you start chasing grant up and down, grant up and down. Grants are wonderful, but from day one, think about revenue. Please think about revenue if you are coming into this space. Think about revenue, right? And so you need to highlight those pain points of farmers and then be able to solve them hands-on at the end of the day. And again, I used to tell young people, Gen Zs particularly, these guys are used to, when I was still in my secondary school, I was still using Google then. Right. But now you guys have ChatGPT. A lot of you are already using ChatGPT. So the information world is massive, is crazy. The fast rate at which it is going at this time is really crazy, right? But then you don't necessarily have to build another ChatGPT for agritech. Be very careful of that. These are fancy technologies. These are amazing technology. It can work, it cannot work, it might not work. But what I just want to really pinpoint is that you don't necessarily have to disrupt the ecosystem. Just innovate. Innovate around the ecosystem. Innovate. You don't necessarily have to disrupt, right? Around the ecosystem. You just need to think innovatively. Okay, these farmers is having, look at what Precision Agric is doing, look at what AfroStem Farm Tech is doing. They are innovating, they are not disrupting the ecosystem. But if you disrupt any ecosystem now, the farmers are going to dump back that trash back to you, because they have a lot of things they are battling with on their farm, right? So innovate, simple technology powered by AI. AI is massive. AI is the future, right? And then you are not, by the time you come up with this solution, don't expect it to just be an overnight success. Look at the story we are telling. It takes time. You have to water it. You have to take away the weed. Be patient enough. Understand the farmer. By the time you come up with your MVP, give it to the farmer. Look at how they use it. Then innovate around it. Listen to them. Innovate. Think about how you can solve their problem further and make more money. So innovate around technology, educating these farmers. So these are some of the things as someone coming on board to work in an agritech space, either as an entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur. You need the blend of the hard skills and the soft skills to actually thrive in this ecosystem. See, believe me, you are not working in fintech. Agritech is different from fintech. I used to tell people, agritech is different from fintech. Yeah, it's not a fintech where they just build one fancy app and then you understand my point, and they raise a couple of minutes. To raise money in agritech, it's hard, right? It's hard, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're raising money. We're raising even customer revenue is also part of money. So you need to have that kind of ruggedity, that kind of tenacity to thrive in these sectors. And we need more of you guys.
Yeah.
Though I'm saying agritech is hard, that doesn't mean, hey, agritech is hard. Let me just let me go to other. No, we need more of you guys to come in, because you guys are the future. I believe the future of agriculture is not going to be on the feed, right? It's going to be among you innovators. That is the future. Innovators that can think. Our forefathers have been doing it the old way. They've been on the field before my great grandfather was born. These guys have been on the field. They've not yet solved the issue of food insecurity in Africa. Right? Right. So though we still have some people on the field, but we need innovators. innovators that can think beyond the feed and bring out more solutions that can be adaptable to the feed and boost the feed yield. Those are the kind of new revolutions of innovators, of agri-tech entrepreneurs that we need in the nation, in the continent. Mechanization, digital agriculture. So you need a blend of both those hard and soft skills.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen. I mean, guys, I hope you're noting. I would also pass on to Vancelos. What are the top skills you think an agritech entrepreneur, would need to, to grow, to scale? I mean, to thrive. Yeah, I think that's the word I'm finding, to thrive. So, what are the skills, top skills that you would like to shortly before we take questions?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Doc, for the very good point that you've highlighted. From my perspective, I've realized that a lot of people are very good at starting operations, starting their startups and so forth. And that might not be a big challenge from the look of things that I've seen. And the words of advice that I want to give are not only for any other person, it's the same advice that I also give myself. Which is why sometimes you see when I start with something, I might end up with something, probably something bigger. And one thing that I've embraced is, of course, reading books. From just reading books like Think and Grow Rich to reading books like the ABCs of building a business team that wins. So you notice that as you start your agribusiness startup, it's not necessarily the starting which is very difficult. It is the execution and the scaling up, which is normally the most important part. So I've seen that the most important skill that you should therefore have is building a team that actually wins. You notice that when you start a business, it's actually much more painful when you start a business and you don't drive the actual vision to your team, because sometimes you might end up with a team that is actually now competing with you. And 3 years down the line, they might actually leave and start doing their own operations. And if you then think about the money that you've invested in them, the kind of tools, all the resources, you'll be thinking that you're building a family, yet it's actually a business. And it doesn't have to be like a situation where you are funding someone, you are funding a competitor. 2 years down the line, they have left you. You are now supposed to build another person. And at the end of the day, you are now like a baptizing ground to teach how other people should run their business. And the implication are that you will not be growing, you'll be just staying there and so forth. But when you understand how have others done it, when you understand how do I manage these people and how do I build a business team that actually wins, you will not have major challenges. I'm talking this from experience. Actually, I've lost 3 times, and you notice that when you are building a business, certain chances when you surpass, let's say, 12 staff, 12 employees, that's when the problem normally starts. From 13 going forward, you now have to manage office politics. You now have to make sure that the people are moving with the same vision, same voice, and the agenda is crystal clear. And this is basically about management, which is a key component of what you're supposed to do. So when I'm talking about management, it's management of your resources, management of your people. And that is when you also, if you are someone who is growth oriented, you notice that you'll be starting to have partnerships. You also need to understand how to select a good partner. How do you manage those people? Because certain moments you might not have a technical skill. For instance, I once struggled to get very good software developers, and to the extent that I ended up trying to outsource, get other people from FlexJob, people joining, someone in Russia joining to work on a particular module. And you notice that in that particular piece of work, you have to then be able to manage and make sure that all the guys, the smart people that you have are working together to achieve a certain goal. So the issue of management is a very serious issue. It has to be taken very seriously. And then the second issue is the issue to do with understanding the financial resources. You notice that I might join hand in hand with what Doc has said previously. When it comes to investing or innovating, it's not nice like just saying, this is a cool thing. For example, drones are an amazing thing, but I have one thing that I normally give advice to other farmers that I work with, and this is the same advice that I also give to myself, which is investment appraisal, for you to be able to understand the return per money invested against the return per time invested. The money that you are putting in your venture, either as time, because time is money. So time wasted is money wasted. So it's one and the same thing. So it's then understanding the return. How long are you going to get this financial milestone? If you're investing, let's say, into poultry, you will notice that within 5 weeks, 6 weeks, you now have if you have done 10,000 chickens, you notice that you now have got your 10,000 beds after 35 days. Which other investment opportunities can you do within the same period, and how best can you get the most returns from that? And then when you look at the alternative, what else can I do besides this? Because you might actually waste a lot of time. You realize when you are 40, when you are 50, or even when you are 60, that I should have done this, but it will be too late for you to then try certain new things. I understand there's a lot of theories like, Kentucky Fried Chicken was started by Colonel Sanders when he was 57, but we are not Colonel Sanders, and we cannot all be the same person. And just to prove that we are living in a time-sensitive environment is to show that you notice that as you get married, the responsibilities increase. As you get children, you are no longer making decisions for your own self, you're not making for a generation. If you feel you are failing a generation, and they would then say, you know what, I come from a poor background, referring to you. So you wouldn't want that to happen to you. So when you are making these decisions, it has to be smart, calculated decisions financially, and you should put time and monetary value into that. Unlike in other environments, some people can afford to go 15, 20 years not getting any single dollar. But in our case, for example, in Africa, mostly you notice that if your business is not bootstrapping, or if you are not getting money from what you are doing, chances are it's very difficult for you to even scale that. And the earlier you realize that, the better for you, because you can quickly change. So the issue of accounting is the second thing, from accounting being able to then calculate what are you doing, and even balancing your books, because when you're operating viably, you are of course liable to pay taxes to the government, the NASA, the National Social Security, the pay as you earn, income tax, and all those things. You notice that they are all supposed to be calculated and delivered, giving to the Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And you notice that if you don't have that financial muscle or the financial understanding, it will be a big challenge for you. And then the third issue is an issue to do with sales, of course. If you don't know sales as an entrepreneur, forget about other things like what we've said, management, building a product, and all those things. Forget about it, because there's no way you are going to use them. Because for you to be able to then say, I'm now doing bookkeeping, I'm now doing human resource management, you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to, that top guy in the industry, say, you know what, I have got a platform that I'm building, probably it's be it a bank or an insurance company. So you know what, we've got something that is very good for the people. You can actually do this, you can use this in this way. You will need people to actually have those kind of skills to buy that idea from you. Even your staff or your employees, you need to actually build something like that and allow them to quickly join you on board, sell the vision, and do all those things that are very good. So this is the third skill that you're supposed to then understand. And then the other key thing that you definitely need to have is, of course, people management, just understanding the growth itself, because you should be prepared. Unfortunately, growth doesn't come when you are prepared. So you should be able to quickly adapt and understand some of those key things. And of course, as an entrepreneur, you have to always be ready to adapt, and the ability to read and get information, knowledge from other people through books, of course, and through networking and partnerships. I've seen that a lot of people might actually struggle to do good things because of poor connections. And in business, if you don't have connections, believe it or not, you are almost going nowhere, because it is the relationship that determines how far you can go. And I think those are the key skills that are actually fundamental, no matter the stage where you are in business. And of course, there are other skills that you might need to understand, like as you scale up or as you start. Each and every stage has its own levels of skills that are required. So if you are starting, there are certain key resources, skills that you are required, that you are supposed to have. That's where energy matters most, because if you don't have energy, like passion, that's where passion is where mostly needed when you are starting. And you notice that when you are growing, when passion fades, you might actually find yourself not doing the things that are supposed to be done. When you've been posting on social media, you end up seeing yourself posting maybe once, or not even posting at all, or just sleeping, and you'll be having a lot of excuses for that. You say, I know what, I was busy, I was doing this and that. But when you are doing things because it has to be done, you see yourself doing those things just for it. And of course, you have to then realize that a good dancer knows when to leave a dance floor. And when you are starting as business, should notice that at the start you are the one who is doing everything, and should therefore know. Unfortunately, it doesn't announce. You have to notice that I'm now supposed to have a marketing department. I'm now supposed to have a sales department. Two different things. I'm now supposed to have a product team. I'm now supposed to have the execution. I'm now supposed to have a finance, an accountant, an HR, and I'm now supposed to hire other consultant to work for me. But if you're not well prepared, if unfortunately that is where the statistics of saying most businesses die within the first year, and the majority do not survive after 5 years. Mostly because when you are doing very well financially, the requirements will be too much. And you notice that if you don't quickly understand, I'm not supposed to put this person, I'm not supposed to put this, you will see that that's when you actually lose a lot. And the most important thing is, of course, the issues to do with the legal documentation, intellectual property protection, because that is when you'd go per gentleman agreements. Come and join me, and you know what? Don't worry about this. No formal written agreements, and 1 year down the line, you're not even paying someone, and the next thing you are being sued, or you are losing a legal battle simply because of things that could have been avoidable. And this is even to the suppliers, to the employees, and even to other general people that you work with. Service level agreements are always very important. They protect you. If you look at it from all the people that end up, if you look at the successful startups, they normally end up with some legal battles, whether genuine or someone just trying to make sure that just trying their luck. So you need to make sure that you have got asset protection, the assets from your intellectual property, your innovations, your inventions, your patents, just making sure that the little things, you have to make sure that everything is well done and documented. I think those are just the few things that I think people have to understand as we are starting your business ventures.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pantelos. Okay, so let me quickly go through some of the questions that we have. Scarlett is asking, how has the use of satellite and AI sensors or IoT been used in livestock farming for health monitoring and disease detection? I think that question is directed to Dr. Steven.
Yeah, thank you for that, Scarlett. For us, we use AI for disease detection. So how we do ours is that we leverage on computer vision technology. Uh, we train our AI model in-house with hundreds of thousands of data sets available for us. And then what a farmer or a vet doctor or an extension agent just need to do is take a couple of pictures of his chicken, right? Chicken poo, chicken, wherever it may be. And then our AI runs through it and is able to diagnose, detect what is wrong, and then provide recommendations to that. This is real life. We are using it. You could check up our platform, but presently is limited to veterinary doctors and extension agents for you to be able to access those features, because they are kind of a more advanced kind of stuff. And then we have a basic one, which we kind of leverage a kind of natural language processing. It's chat based. That is presently active on our WhatsApp chat bots. You can just say hi to our WhatsApp. It's available for use for anybody. You're a livestock farmer, you raise poultry, fish, pig. You can easily do that and get a personalized recommendation. So we use AI. But for sensors and IoTs, I think I may not be able to speak more on that and satellite. But for AI, we're pretty doing pretty well in that area. Thank you.
Awesome. I think, Fancelos, you have something to talk about on satellite imagery or IoT. Yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of the question, we said, how has the use of satellite sensors been useful in livestock farming, health monitoring, and disease detection? Right. When it comes to satellites, just to give a brief background, we have got basically the Earth observation satellites, which normally gives high resolution. It's called RGB, like the way you simply use the cameras, the images that you simply see when you take a photo with your phone. That's the RGB. And then there are sensors that are also put on the satellites. Or maybe to simply put into perspective, satellites are just the gadgets that are put into space, taking aerial image on the Earth. And the cameras that are attached or the sensors that are attached can either be multispectral, hyperspectral, or just general cameras to simply show what is on the Earth. So when you are now using these devices, there's another type which is thermal imaging. For example, there's another satellite called which uses synthetic aperture radar. So these satellites have got different uses from their data that they capture. To begin with, you notice that when we use satellites with a multispectral or hyperspectral or thermal imaging, they capture data on the Earth or on the pastures, on the crops, using those multispectral. The term multispectral, it simply means, in general terms, we are talking about a color that we can't see with our naked eye. It's a visual band which we can't see with our naked eye. So it sees things beyond the human eye can see. So because of that, it is used to detect anomalies or abnormalities in the plants, in the pastures, in vegetation, to begin, just to say it simply. So when you then use those satellites, you are then supposed to have a way to interpret that satellite, that imagery. Remember, this is a wavelength. This is an image which we can't things that we can't see with our human naked eye. So because it has been used a sensor or a satellite, we are also now supposed to have a system or a platform that is going to be used to interpret that data that we've gotten. And that is where platforms like software that are designed to interpret, understand, analyze that data come into perspective. So satellite systems or satellite data analytics platforms might not give you information on a silver platter. They simply show you where the problem is. They might not necessarily tell you what is the problem. So what they simply help you with is to know where the problem is and give you a geo-referenced coordinate to then go and see what is the problem. So they simply simplify how you identify the problem, how you track it, and how you treat it. So it's therefore essential when it comes to livestock, especially the browsers. They simply help you to plan in real time where you can put your livestock where there's greener pastures, where you can put your livestock where there's regenerating pastures. If it is crops, or let's say maize, corn, or any other leaf vegetables, it simply shows you where the problem is, and you can then create what are called variable rate application maps. These are maps that, instead of you treating everything in the field as if treating the field as a unique, it then breaks down everything to show you that in this area there's poor vegetation, there's poor germination, so you need to replant. Replanting is a very important decision. So using satellites, you can then know where the problem areas are, what needs attention, and all those key things. And then with the sensors, there are certain sensors which are on board, and then there are sensors that are put in the field. They simply work hand in hand. And then the Internet of Things, almost the same thing, they work hand in hand. And with the satellite data analytics and with Internet of Things, you are able, for instance, let's say you are growing your potatoes or your bananas in Lagos or in anywhere in Nigeria. You can indicate using satellite, you can prove to any person that where you are supplying that I am the person who produced this by simply linking using a QR code embedded. This is also linked to that platform which we're talking about. You can simply put a QR code on your crop so that when that same product is now reached, let's say, to the market, any general person can simply scan using a phone and you'll be able to see your profile as a farmer. This is this farmer, the flying farmer. I'm doing my. You've harvested in this part of Nigeria, and this is the. It also then reflects the entire area. So you simply reduce the doubts to say, you know what, this product that I'm buying, actually it came from this farm, catches of course of the satellites. And because satellites are also used in terms of the actual detection, certain satellites have got a high resolution of even 3 meters, some are even 50 centimeters. So you can actually see in real time what's happening. So those are just some of the key things that are actually happening. Unfortunately, with the disease detection using satellites, I haven't gone that far in detail, except that when you then need to probably use certain sensors, mostly they are sensors, mostly like transponders, belts, and all those key things. I think those are just the key things that you might understand.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, and just to add, there are IoT devices that you can add to animals like cow, be it large or small ruminant animals. Yeah, even in poultry production, we can also use IoT to sense the environment and give you real-time temperature monitoring. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to sort of mention that. If we have any other question, okay, same from Scarlett. Says, are there apps that can be used? I think this is for Dr. Steven. You can read and respond. So as I look towards other questions before we wrap up.
Okay, yeah, are there apps that can use physical symptoms of disease to detect? Yes. For example, our WhatsApp chatbot, just type any physical symptoms of any animal, it's going to detect it for you and provide you solutions on how to go about it, right? But for our computer vision technology, which is available only for vet doctor, this is more like an advanced diagnostic for us. That uses not only just historical data. What I mean by historical data is just describing. It also leverages on the images of the animal, both even to pathology. So we've actually built something quite amazing to assist veterinary doctors and extension agents to diagnose this far better. But for your case, just say hi to our WhatsApp chatbot. Visit WhatsApp. Just go to our WhatsApp chatbot. Type any form of symptoms you want to do. Our AI is going to run through it and provide you how to manage it on the go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I have a question from Abibat. Says an agricultural economist. In what way does agritech resonate with this field? And what other skills can I gain to be grounded? So he is an agricultural, or she is an agricultural economist, and she wants to know what are the technology that she should pay attention to in that field, and how, building skills. Do you have some idea for Abiba? Fancelus, do you
Yeah.
have any? Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. So you notice that agricultural economists are normally on the soft skill side. Mostly these are the people who are into policy making. They are in the advisory services because they are mostly they are the ones who normally advise the governments what's happening, and they are in the decision making side of things.
That's right.
That is if you are fully utilizing your skills in the agricultural economics perspective. Mostly you notice that these are the people who design frameworks, what's happening, and so forth. So when it comes to understanding technology and what kind of agri-tech that you can fully utilize, I think you are actually capable of exploring almost every technology that is there, because you are doing that to give an advisory perspective on policy framework. For instance, let's say there's supposed to be a digital transformation for the rural economies, or for the people who are for the smallholder farmers. You are supposed to then understand how best can we streamline, or can we make, for example, the doc has been talking about his platform, and probably to then understand how can we make a light version of that, so that anyone who doesn't even have a smartphone, using we call that those small
Feature
phones.
phone. Hmm.
Yes. So those small phones to be able to do the same. If we are talking about food security and nutrition security, how can we use that platforms? Maybe by simply typing a text message to that. So you notice that their roles as agri-economists are mostly on the advisory. But of course, the benefit is that when you then understand how technology is being utilized, you also be much more valuable from that same perspective. Unless when you then want to jump into the actual action, that's when you then need to understand how to deploy or develop, in which case you simply then follow the same format like a startup founder or an entrepreneur who is now focusing on that. But as long as you are operating from an agri-economist perspective, you simply use the same AI, agentic AI agents, or even these generative AI tools to simply drive or to solve the problems that you already have. But as long as you want to be a competitive figure in the policy framework
Yeah.
advisory perspective, you have to then understand how these tools work, so that you can
Mm.
give well-informed advisory perspective. Thank you so much. I think maybe,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. That was really succinct. And as Vancelos has mentioned, agricultural economics is oftentimes, you're trying to do models. You're trying to, at the end of the day, for us to make decision, for you to be able to provide advisory services. And advisory services you can leverage on artificial intelligence, either from market information from past, be it pricing, demand and supply. You want to forecast what's going to be the demand, what's going to be, you want to be able to advise government, or you want to be able to even advise farmers to say this is the best time to plant based on past data. And you can be able to do predictive analytics, analysis, to be able to then say, okay, based on what I have seen in the past and the trend going, these are conversations that economics would get themselves into, and then that insight is provided for. So I think you can leverage on artificial intelligence, which is core, and at the back of that there are data, so we call it big data, and many other technologies, as far as they can provide you data needed for you to be able to make provide advisory services or decision making that empowers farmers or different stakeholders, including government or non-governmental organization. Right. So yeah, I think GIS platform is also something for you to consider. Yeah, GIS platform would help you. I mean, geographic information system. How close is this place? What is happening in this place? Talking about famine or food security, all that indices, you sort of have them. I think there's a question here, and we have limited time. I think we have 2 minutes to wrap this up. But I have another question from Scarlett. It's a good question. So not everybody have great is great in marketing strategy. Do you recommend having a strong social media or community presence to scale your startup? business. I think Dr. Steven can speak to that.
Yeah, actually, do you recommend having it? Yes, I would say yes. You need that. You need a social community to also scale your startup, particularly in a place like Nigeria. You need to really leverage on that. And then, in addition to social media, you also need to leverage on local farmer community. In fact, that is where should be your first focus if you want to scale your startup, agritech startup now, in particular, in a place in any part of Africa,
Yeah.
because these are more like key resource persons, key stakeholders who have actually gathered a lot of trust from these farmers. So if you're able to secure partnership with these farmer local associations, take your solutions to their meetings, explain how it works, get as many as possible of these farmers on board. In fact, it's one of the easiest way that you can go, but it could also be hard if you do not know how to communicate yourself and then be able to secure some partnership with them. Yes, capital, yes. You need both social and local community cooperative presence to scale your startup, agritech startup in Africa.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing your thought on that. All right. Thank you so much. I want to say we have come to the end of this section. I know there are a lot of questions here. There are a lot of questions, and some of you joined a bit late. Yeah, there are a lot of questions here. If our speakers will permit me, I could just take only one from another person. There are a lot of questions here, honestly. But let me take a question from Ibrahim Abubakar. It's a good question, and I think I would like to hear from both speakers. He said, and lastly, how can AgTech startup ensure they create a real impact for farmers while still being profitable? It's about money, right? We talked about money. You have to make money. It's not a charity, so that's how I brought it up. So
I think maybe
All
I should
right.
just. Okay, yeah, yeah. Please go first, please.
All right. Thank you so much. I think the issue is the good thing is farmers have got the real problems. They don't. What you have to understand is probably how to really identify the pain problems of the farmers, and the only
right.
way you can do that is, of course, to spend a bit of time with them or to actually be inspired, let them say what they want to be developed, of which of course I understand certain farmers do not really know that they've got a problem or they don't even know what is the problem that they have. So the most important thing is when you can create something that is genuinely solving a problem. And the only way you to do that is, of course, creating something that you actually genuinely know that this is actually a pain problem. For instance, the general problem that we know that every farmer has is issues that is surrounding cash. Everyone, no matter the size of a person, people always have a problem of cash. So you have to identify how can you save the farmers money, how can you increase the farmers cash, and how can you also protect the money that they have. So we're talking about the security of the farmer financially and the resources. If you can make sure that whatever that you are doing is solving or is increasing the farmers money, we are almost on your way to the winning platform. So whichever that you then create, if you can make sure that the farmer is going to benefit, even if you are going to benefit much more, that is a guarantee. And the issue to do with security, if you can make sure that you whatever that you are going to build is going to secure what the farmer has, that's a win. And if you're also going to security in terms of financially resources that they have, and if you're also going to make sure that you are what you are creating is going to give insights or information, those are just pointers of the things that always make sure that farmers will have money. For instance, people need information. There is no way, in either way, if you can simply create something that is going to make sure that farmers cannot do without because there's no information, they've got limited information, just guarantee that they will make it. So those are some of the things that just an insight, but there's a lot more issues to do with insights, finance, security, and all those things, depending on the stage of the farmer. And also bearing in mind that when you are also making sure that you need something that will make you money, also focus on long term, not only short term. Also focus on something that is long term that you can continuously improve and grow better together with. I think those are some of just insights.
Yeah, that's really massive. Thank you. So I just want to add to that. You still come to the issue of your problem solving skill, that you are able to spend time with your customers, spend time with these farmers, know their pain points. Like, there are some solutions that are nice to have. There are some solutions that are just a need. They are filling a, that is the pain point of these farmers. So you might just need to spend some time with a farmer during your research. Just conduct some interview. Hey, what are your pain points? You don't necessarily have to even come up with, make it an open-ended question for these farmers. Like, in your design thinking, make it open-ended questions. You don't necessarily have to come up with a solutions that you want to give this farmer. Just, hey, I just want to know what are the problem you are facing. And believe me, many of these farmers have a lot of problem. Those that they are aware of, that they know about, and those that they do not even know about based on their level of literacy, right? So you can now build on those pain points to further work upon it, refine your solutions, and make sure that it's acceptable to these farmers at the end of the day. And believe me, if you also want to serve farmers, I think you should also try to kind of balance up your model, your revenue model. Farmers have a very low margin, low purchasing power. So if you want to build a digital product, you might not necessarily design your revenue model around them. You can design it, you can make them your primary users, but then have secondary users who pay for those solutions, right? That it might not necessarily be farmers paying for your solution. It could just be some secondary users, maybe some big agricultural firm, extension agents, whatsoever people that are working among these farmers who pay for those solutions. It could be insurance company, it could be financial companies, anybody that can actually pay for these solutions, and then maybe you give farmers to just use your solution for free or at a very subsidized amount, and then you get someone, a secondary user, who pay for that solution. So you can innovate around your revenue model at the end of the day. And one thing that I also say to startup founder is go lean as soon as possible. Deploy lean business model. Don't burn too much cash. Like my colleague has rightly said there, he brought in intern when they wanted to build their digital platform, and they also did well than paying a lot of money for a senior tech dev who is actually going to take all your money at the end of the day. And even an intern might possibly do a better job than the person. So go in lane, deploy a lane budget from your marketing to nobody is coming to save you. And then from the first day as a startup founder, have this at your back of mind that nobody is coming to save you. Yeah, you're just going to get it right, right? So you have to be very strict about your spending, strict about your budgeting, strict about your marketing, strict about everything. Every kobo that you are spending, you got to be strict about it. And nobody, no help is coming everywhere. I just have to see how I deploy the solutions and I make money. And of course, impact farmers at the end of the day. So you have to bring that kind of mindset from the start, because you need to. So don't build your solution tailored to, hey, I just want to be making design just only for impact or for revenue. In fact, solutions that has actually scaled in the agritech startup has always been a combination of both impact and revenue. And then beware of vanity spending. Don't, in fact, just very disciplined about your spending. don't do a lot of giveaways. I see a lot of startups doing a lot of giveaways. I don't know who actually who pays for that. So be careful of a lot of giveaways. They double down on your at the end of the day. So yeah, that's just my 10 cents at the end of the day. Thank you.
Wow, that's more than 10 cents. I would, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I appreciate you, Dr. Stephen Vancelos. Great information today. I hope you were, I mean, all of us were able to gain from their wisdom and experience, and you are inspired, you know, on your journey to become a tech savvy and hard tech innovator and entrepreneur. So, thank you so much once again to our speakers, and it's been a great learning experience. And you can connect with them on LinkedIn. The name is there. So if you have further questions or you want to sort of follow up on their startups, on the exploit that they are doing, yeah, I think it's wise for you to connect with them. So at this point, I would say thank you once again for joining in, and bye for now. Thank you so much, sir. All right. I have some announcements to make. Good, good, good. All right. So as you may know that we would be starting the on-site training. So please, please put in your applications. If you need any information, please reach out to any of the admins or administrators. You know, to Joseph, to Beatrice, to they can be able to provide you further information if you need. But we're going to be starting with FUNAB next week. FUNAB starts on the 25th, 29th. So do well to avail yourself, apply. We want to quickly, tomorrow is the application deadline. So do well to make your application um, be fast as possible so that we can be able to send you an email to get ready and put things in place. Right, it's going to be just to take you through. So this is a training in collaboration with DGI Academy. So if you know DGI had the major and the largest manufacturer of agricultural drones in the world. They hold more than 75% of the agricultural drones, and even drones generally, consumer drones to enterprise. So yeah, it will be an opportunity for you to learn about drones, drone technology, and what much more important to us, like I emphasized, is you should be able to demonstrate that you are reliable, you are somebody that we can be proud of using the skills that we have provided to you. We want to be able to see people who can engage with the skills, or perhaps who we can engage, on the field. We are, like we said, there's an opportunity for internship and ambassadorship if you're a student, internship if you are a graduate, all right, and can lead to further opportunities, which we have seen for past cohorts, people getting full-time employment with us, and doing well for themselves, and not just only with us, with partners. And we have also seen many students who have left the cohort, built their skills, to be competitive with opportunities globally. So yeah, and as we said, ISP is backing this, AP is backing this, DGI Academy is backing this, and yeah, I think you will have all the best. So okay, so please do well to apply. If there's any issue with application, please reach out to us. We want to have your application, and if you have any issue, reach out. We would see how we can help. What's more important is the impact for us, and the commitments we do to mention. It is important, and it is to prove to us that you have full commitment into this. If you have any queries, do well to write to us, reach out to me, reach out to any of the admin, and we'll see how to help you. But it's important for you to make application. So without further ado, I would say good evening from here and have a great day. So we'll be looking forward to your applications and see you next week. Bye.